Hey everyone, MTast here, and today I wanted to talk about why I think the Menagerie is one of the best pieces of content that's been made so far, and why the reward versus time system is one of the best that the game has ever seen. I think that other activities could learn a lot from the Menagerie, and I think that Bungie should continue this path because this is something that I am loving. It makes me feel like I'm being rewarded for playing, and I hope to see more of this in the near future. Now, before I begin, I just wanted to say thank you so much to ViewSonic. They have been a long-term sponsor of the channel for the past few months, and I am in love with their monitors. If you guys are looking for something to really spice up your setup, if you're looking to optimize your gaming experience with a low refresh rate monitor, if you want to jump up into the higher resolutions or maybe a giant curved screen, they've got options for you. Make sure to check out ViewSonic. Links are in the description. Now let's get started here. Why am I so hyped on the Menagerie? The activities within aren't crazy and different from stuff we've already seen. This activity is essentially the blind well from the Dreaming City, but it is one small portion of the Menagerie activity, one small piece of the game show, if you will. Now, there's other activities that are similar to other pieces of content, such as the crystals being similar to the Eater of Worlds raid, and I think that that's awesome because not only does it add a bit of familiarity to these activities, but it also trains you a little bit if you ever wanted to go back to that content and play it. You get an idea of how it functions, and I think that's a good thing. It could actually give you enough experience that maybe you finally try a raid you might not have touched in the past. It's also a 6-man activity, and maybe you feel like the team you're playing with has some good cooperation. Well, now you've got 6 people that maybe want to try a raid together. I think that this would be a good introduction to these larger group mechanic-based activities. Instead of just slaying enemies, there's actually objectives. And I think that that brings a lot of value. I think it spices things up, and it makes this a little bit more replayable than other game modes. There's also multiple encounters that change week to week that spices up everything. Honestly, this is almost like how Prison of Elders would change up the bosses, except this is changing up the activities. If you look at Archon's Forge compared to something like this, I would say that this is a much deeper experience. However, the one thing that kept me playing Archon's Forge is stuff like Saladin's Vigil, the best fusion rifle the game has ever seen, in my opinion. I played it because I wanted that fusion rifle, desperately. I desperately wanted that thing. It was so good that I hunted it, even though the game mode was a little bit, lackluster maybe. It was a little boring. You killed enemies, and it was frustrating to matchmake into people or find people, and you had to farm for these keys. It was frustrating. This is something you can dive in, you can jump in, you can play with randoms, you can play with your friends, and there's some great rewards at the end as well. But what sets this apart from Archon's Forge is it's a guaranteed way to farm it, similar to Black Armory. With the Forges in Black Armory, you could get some guaranteed drops. But again, the items maybe weren't the best, and so it wasn't as enticing to get them. And so it's taken the guaranteed farming of the Black Armory Forges, and it's taken better mechanics than Archon's Forge, not to be confused, and all of a sudden, you've got this mechanic-filled, fun, replayable, multifaceted, guaranteed way to farm gear that actually is replayable and has value. It is something that I will jump in for 15 minutes to try and get that God-rolled gun. And that is a first. This is the first time where the rewards, I think, have been on par, and the respect for your time has been on par, and the accessibility, and the replayability, and did you just see me slide in that door? I'm like Indiana Jones! Now, I could drag this out for 10-15 minutes because I think that there's a lot to talk about with the Menagerie, why it's so good, why it's better than other stuff, but I honestly just wanted to really make an appreciation post for this because the more I interact with this content, the more I open up the chests and see the rewards at the end, and the more I check out these new encounters that are changing, the more I appreciate, the more I realize, holy shit, this is a good piece of content. And I think the people at Bungie, especially the people that thought up this beauty, should be very proud of themselves. I mean, it's a team effort. Everyone did art on it. Everyone coded this shit. I get that. But whoever's idea this was, you are a rock star, in my opinion. Like, it is just such a good piece of content. Now, I think that in the future, once we have our beloveds all maxed out, and we've farmed every piece of gear we want, this will inevitably fall off. Just like every piece of content does, right? Everything falls off eventually. But I question, is this something that we could update in the near future as well? If there's new content being added, new weapons being added, why can't we add a couple of ruin slots that add some different weapons, some different armor? Update this in a few months' time. Bring this piece of content back. Maybe add a couple of activities. This could be an evolving thing. This could be a growing thing. And with the more activities you add, the more permutations, I think is the word. The different permutations of this activity you could have. You could have this section. You could have the crystal section. You could have the gauntlet section from the Callus Leviathan raid. There's all these different activities you could add together and swap in. And every time you do the Menagerie, you're going to have a very different experience, or at least every week that you do it. If they added new weapons, new armor, new activities within the Menagerie, this could be a long-term 6-man piece of content that people could love, people could farm, and people could feel like they're being rewarded for a long time to come. This piece of content is so good that I do not want it to die. I think that as many people as humanly possible should get to explore this, enjoy this, and I would love to see it have a player base forever, if possible. I mean, for the rest of Destiny, if the Menagerie could be a thing, I think that would be a great thing for Destiny. That's pretty much it, though, guys. I don't want to say anything else. I don't want to waste any more of your time. I appreciate you guys supporting me. I'm really enjoying Destiny right now. I got some other videos coming out on the truth and things like that. And so I'll leave it there. Thank you again. Have a great day. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.